Alright, what's going on, Jay? So, today, we're going to kind of be going through my box here. I'm going to be actually kind of dismantling this box and putting pretty much all of this stuff and whatever tools I have in my truck kind of away in my main box here. Because the biggest reason is I need something a bit more portable. And I bought this box to be a portable toolbox. This is a USA made Kennedy that I bought off a coworker. And I actually really do like this box. But this box is absolutely way too fucking heavy. So, yeah. I'm doing away with it. I'm not getting rid of the box. Unless one of my buddies needs a toolbox or something, I would consider giving this one to him as a something a bit more stationary. But I'm going to be switching back to my pack out. This pack out to be specific. It seems like I continuously go back to the pack out boxes, but we're just gonna kind of go through this and what I have in here as I'm putting it away into the box right here. So, as you guys can see, kind of stuff that I've been using a lot of. I got a hammer on here, a little greasy. So, we're going to be trying to clean this stuff as we go. We got some wipes here. Try to clean it. See if I can set this phone stand up as I go. That way you guys can actually see what I'm doing. And I can actually work a bit easier. Alright, now that we got that set up, and we'll be kind of going back and forth to each box here. I will, however, be setting up another toolbox, but it will not be a general mechanical toolbox. I actually kind of need something more for general handyman stuff. You guys can see. This is probably my most used hammer out of my entire box. I have used the absolute crap out of this thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's on the hair really needing to be warranted, but it's just, as much as I have absolutely used and abused this hammer, I don't know, she just keeps working. It's weird. Way. And as you guys can see, we got some brake clean here. Can't do much these days without brake clean. I think this bar's a little greasy. This is a 2-foot breaker, or not breaker bar. I don't know why I call these breaker bars. This is a 2-foot pry bar, and it's a little greasy. This is probably my most used out of all of my pry bars. I have a whole set of these all the way up to, I think, 36 inch, 3 foot. And this is probably my most used. I've already warranted this one. I warranted this one as well. Ironically, these don't get used as much as my other ones, but I don't know. This kind of seems to be when I need a general pry bar to pry on something. This is kind of my general, the 2-footer. And I got all the sockets in here. Most of this, this is all metric. and one set of SAE. I really need to get a set of shallow SAE. I just bought me a set of, where is it? Right, huh. Yeah, right here. Got me a set of SAE deeps. And yeah, old Snap-on. I found a deal on them. Really can't go wrong with what I paid, so. Alright. This is SAE 3/8 drive deeps. I actually bought these because I already have, these are metric, my bad. I actually already have a set of impact metric, but some of them tend to be a little too fat to get into spark plugs, so I bought this as a general kit to have, which works well. I mean, they're not magnetic, but these are probably a better purchase in the beginning rather than a designated spark plug set, which I do need. I just don't have at the moment. I will get a set of designated spark plug sockets at some point, just not right now. Alright. What else we got in here? This is I was using for my lug nuts on my truck. Alright, so we can see this here. This was an absolute pain in the ass to find. This is a 2 5/8. This is a spline, or not a spline, spindle nut socket for the front end of the Fords. This does not come in any kit. I bought the actual OTC kit with all of the sockets, and it did not have this one. I had to track this down. This was an absolute nightmare to figure out what socket I needed, because the standard Dana 44 twin I-beam on the 90s trucks uses I think it's a 2 3/8 or whatever it is. Don't quote me on that. It might be 2.5 inch, 2.5. But this is for the dual I-beam 50, Dana 50 front end, and there is a huge difference both in parts and in the tools you need to do it. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that, and I didn't realize there was such a big difference with it, so when I bought parts, they were almost all wrong. And it was an absolute kind of a nightmare trying to figure out exactly what parts you needed to actually fit on it. But, yeah, PT, Performance Tools. Performance Tools, I will say, probably make some of the worst tools as far as quality of any tool brand I've ever seen. Like, all of their tools rank upon some of the worst I've ever used. But, you know what? It was the only parts store that had it, was Performance Tools. O'Reilly's always seems to come through when I need it. Every other parts store tends to fail me a lot more than O'Reilly's does. So, it is what it is. But, it got the job done. This is a 4-prong. Yeah. I don't know. I tried searching for a slightly better quality one on Amazon, and it was actually kind of a nightmare. I couldn't barely even find this other than Performance Tools on Amazon either. So, I don't know. Spindle nut sockets are kind of a pain in the ass. I got a whole bunch of them back here, and I don't even really have room for half of these. There we go. So you guys can see I got basically the whole set. Pretty much just shoved it back there because I don't use these a ton, except on older square bodies. So pretty much only older trucks really use these anymore. You guys can see I have all big sockets back here. This box is so goddamn full, it's not even funny. Alright. I think this got spent. Alright. So, we got another set of sockets here. This is a set of Cornwell swivel sockets. I'm not really that big a fan of Cornwell. A lot of their tools are kind of hit or miss. But, I will say this about... I do like their swivel sockets. I like the coating of it, but my problem gets to be is why I will not buy these again, and why I won't even warranty these, is because the only Cornwell guy in my area, I don't really like him. He takes forever to get things warranted, if he'll warranty it at all. Like it took me over almost 2 months just to get my breaker bar warranted, to a point where I gave it away. I straight out gave it away because I really don't want to deal with them. So when one of these breaks, I probably will replace it with a snap-on. Just because, and that kind of leads in another problem with Cornwell is, if you lose a Cornwell dealer, you may never see another Cornwell dealer in your lifetime, unless you move areas. They're just, Cornwell is the smallest of the brands, and they're kind of rare to even find a Cornwell dealer. They're really difficult to come by. So, move this aside here, see if we can make some room. This is where it was before. Wow, that juts out. You know what? Let's see if we can put it right up against that other set of sockets. Oh, man. This box is just not big enough anymore. I really need a bigger box. Probably like a Harbor Freight, US General or something. The Snap-on roll carts, definitely. I have the amount of origami and organization I have done to fit most of this stuff in this box. As you guys can just see, like, it's all just one giant puzzle. And it is just chock full. I have another video on my YouTube of me going through that box and breaking it down. But alright. If you guys do want to check that out, feel free. We got, so I actually got both of these sets. I got it for free. You know, Snap-on. Free is questionable at best. But they were doing a promo on their air impacts and their electric impacts. I already had a Milwaukee electric impact, and I don't really like Snap-on's power tools. A, they're way too goddamn expensive, and B, they're not as good as Milwaukee. Sorry. They're just not. I mean, they definitely weren't at the time, back in 2021. They definitely were not. Now, they're putting out some that are kind of rivaling, but for $1,200, I mean, they better rival or beat Milwaukee. And a lot of the times, they just don't. But, anyway, I bought an air impact, and they were giving both a metric and SAE semi-deep socket sets away with it. You know, giving away. I think most people that buy Snap-on kind of know that joke of, oh yeah, we're offering a free hat with, you know, a $600 air impact. I think it was a I don't know what it cost at the time, actually. I don't really remember. I think it was like $500 at the time. Now, last time I checked, it was like a $650, which is not cheap. Really, really not cheap. Move some of this stuff over. This is just one giant puzzle of trying to fit crap in here. These probably, I really should figure out a better solution for these picks. Kind of wish I had something along the wall here to kind of hang them. I know they make them. I just don't have any, and I don't really have the money to continue the organization in that way at the moment. But I will at some point. Right now, I've been focusing on getting rails for my sockets. For a long time, I didn't even have enough rails for all the socket sets I had. I got a few at Home Depot. These are Husky ones right here. And you know what? For Home Depot, these Husky ones actually aren't bad. SA semi-deep, again, got it with my Air Impact. I don't like these socket rails because, as you guys can kind of see, they're incredibly fat. And they take up a ton of space. I overlap the lip of them a bit with each other. But, I mean, I could fit like 3 to 4 socket sets. Like, I could fit another socket set right here if these rails weren't here. They look cool, they really do, but they take up a ton of space. And I don't really like these style, because these prongs of that style, of this kind of, plastic tray style, these prongs tend to break off. I got this from Snap-on too, and it's alright for my 1/4 inch stuff. So you guys can see I've kind of finished out the sets a bit. I need to finish these ones, but as long as I have the bigger sizes. Oh. Alright. Wire. Again, 1/2 inch. I was working on heavy duty stuff, so 1/2 inch metric up to 24. They do make bigger sizes. I want to get bigger sockets, but I don't need them a ton, and it's kind of debatable. I need to kind of go through what I already have in this drawer before I can really justify what sockets I need and what I don't. Let me some of this stuff. Let me see. Holy crap. That doesn't even fit anymore. Damn it. Oh, what to do. I guess reverse what we just did. Throw this stuff. Oh my God. That ain't even gonna work. This is a pain in the ass. This really is. Yeah. All this stuff's gonna have to be moved. You know what? Brain blast. It'd be funny if anyone even got that reference. Instead of doing that and shifting a whole bunch of crap over, let's do this. Let's throw this out the way. We'll move these fat bastards. Because we have space over on this other side here that we don't have anything right here. I put this like this because this is one long rail. So it kind of needs to lay like that, unfortunately. Didn't realize that rail was going to be that long. I wanted one that was going to go this way, but the rail, when I laid it down, actually went from this point all the way past this point. So I was like, holy shit. That's not really what I wanted, but it's what I've got. So I kind of had to make it work. Safety glasses. Sharpie. I want to finish out my swivel socket set. I have, you know what, these I can probably put back into this box here in my little swivel socket area, because I just don't need them sitting out, I guess. I put those out because I wanted to finish that set, but that's not going to happen right now until I get more money to work with. Again, I want to kind of finish out a lot of these sets, because you know what, let's move these out the way. I actually didn't think a lot of these Snap-on bit sockets were really all that great, to be honest. But Torque Test channel did a test on these, and these Snap-ons performed probably better than everybody else. I've just been buying these Snap-on bit sockets as I really needed them. As I broke these cheaper Duralast cheap sets, I would buy the expensive one. And yeah, I didn't think they were all that great, so I bought this set right here, this VIM kind of master kit. But I probably will finish, because those are kind of shallow. I probably will finish out this set as well. Alright, I do have almost a full set of these SAE swivel sockets, and they're really great. You use them a ton for classic cars. So that's why this set got filled out first. Alright, that'll work. We'll have to reorganize these ratchets because I have a pile of ratchets. And I have ratchets in this box. Again, this is the second to last. Deep, metric, same as the other one, just deep well. No, I don't have semi-deep in half-inch, and I'm torn on if I ever will or not, because I rarely, if ever, use half-inch a ton, and most of the time, I'm putting on a big impact or a big pry bar. Oh my god. I call the pry bars breaker bars, and I call breaker bars pry bars. I put them on a big breaker bar, or a big ratchet, and I rarely, if ever, need, them to get into certain places. Normally when I'm doing that, I'm probably in the 3/8 size area. So, I don't know. It's weird. Alright, and the last but not least, we have Astro's Nano socket set. This one only goes up to 19. They make a 6 to 24. This one is 6 to 19. And I don't know. I bought the 19. I don't really feel as if I need, up to 24. Rarely, if ever, have I seen a 24 where I need, the extra little bit to get in there. We'll put that right there, so we have both. So that kind of fits all perfect right there. So that let's put all this stuff back real quick. Let's make sure this still shuts. That this isn't going to hit with this. Yeah, that works. Half-inch Snap-on. This is kind of a general ratchet, right? Like, I didn't want something too big. I just wanted a basic half-inch ratchet. This is like my only half-inch ratchet that I own, because I don't use half-inch all that often, right? Normally, when I'm using half-inch, I'm grabbing a big bar. I've used this very few times. I have used this. And when I do, it's great. Like, great tooth count. It's a Snap-on. It works. Didn't really want the button, but, whatever. Yeah, it works. I don't know what to say about it. Other than, yeah, it works. So, now that clean that up. clean your tools, guys. Take care of your tools. So many times I look into certain people's boxes, you know who you are, and your tools are just nasty. Like, I just don't want to grab dirty tools, and especially if you're doing any, you're going in and out of cars all day. The cleaner I can keep my tools in my hands, the less I have to worry about messing up a customer's car, right? Because sometimes you just want to do something quick, right? You don't want to throw in a set of gloves to go into a customer's car because you decide to not keep your stuff at least a little clean. I don't know why I have a lone Craftsman in here. I don't. I have 2 Craftsmans in here. 3, 4. Oh. Okay, I thought that was a whole set of Snap-ons. I guess I was wrong. Fuck me. Completely lied to you guys. That is a cheapo Craftsman set. I will say those Craftsman swivel sockets absolutely are junk. They do the job, but you can tell with how much play they have in them. They're not great. I wish I could say different. I really do. And we'll put this up against those to keep those there. I really don't have a place for these Sprocket pry bars up here. I'm going to use them a ton right now, so we'll throw these. We'll throw these in there for right now. This is kind of my general electrical drawer. It used to be like my general specialty drawer, but it very quickly got to a point where I could not keep all my specialty stuff in one drawer. Like, that only lasts like a few months at most in your tool buying. If you have the money to buy tools, this ain't gonna last as a specialty drawer. But we'll just keep, and now it's kind of a basic general drawer. Alright. Put that else. We'll get this stuff out the way. Alright. My buddy gave me this. Magic the Gathering. I don't even know why I keep it in here. Just kind of. This reminds me of him. It was an old co-worker. I haven't seen him in years. We were friends outside of work. We were playing a lot of Magic and doing stuff. And when we stopped working together, we just kind of lost touch. I bought these off the Snap-on truck, and they're kind of different than the other sockets here. And these are like semi-shallows, or these are like thin wall deep sockets for like lug nuts. Interesting, but I believe I've warrantied the 19 before, so really useful. I don't use these a ton. These are kind of more specialty sockets. Once I got this set, I tend to use these more for doing lug nuts. No, I don't own lug nut sockets. I don't really have issues messing up wheels all that much. Like, if it's too tight to get the socket in there, I'll just use this one. Just don't touch the walls. It's not that hard. I do want to get a set, but I've not really had a ton of issues messing up or scratching rims. Normally, when you see rims get scratched, it's more on the machine because the guy doing it, unfortunately, wasn't being careful enough. So, not that it's really their fault. Sometimes there's just not much you can do. I have so many ratchets. They're all for different things, though. You know, the longer you do stuff, the more ratchets you tend to accumulate because over time, they do different things for you. And it just makes your life easier. Oh, that looks better. Is it perfect? No, but it gets the job done for right now. Again, I'm not working out of this box, so you know the organization doesn't need to be perfect. At some point, what I really need, if I was gonna be working out of a box, would probably need to be upgrading this box, or upgrading to a bigger box and then using this either as a roll cart or a home box, because this box just isn't big enough for a tech doing what I do, which right now is nothing. I guess we'll just throw these out of the way. Alright. So, yeah. Kind of works. Again, we have more ratchets to throw in here. Chisel. I'm not going to go too much into this. This is, you know, cold chisel, punch. This is a proto. I found it. Snap-on. Just a kind of a roll punch. And, oh yeah, we actually do have something else that needs to go in that. So we got this. Got these for right now. We gotta find a place for these. Oh god damn it! You know, you're probably thinking, well, the easiest way would be to get rid of the plastic thing and just lay them down in the drawer. I would like to do that. The only reason I like the plastic right here is that I can keep track of these, right, to make sure. That's kind of why I've hung on to these molded ones, because it just allows me to keep track of, you know, where they all are, and so that I don't lose them. I think the only one I've ever lost, I lost the swivel. I had to replace it, but that's... Honestly, though, this ain't going to be that big a deal. What I can do is just kind of do something like that. You know, just working it as a puzzle, unfortunately. I will cover these nano sockets down here, but to be honest with you, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I don't need to be grabbing those unless I really need them. Alright, I think that's... We do have another chisel. I mean, another... Grab my rest of my ratchets and sockets here. So these, as you probably saw, there's no extra spot on that rail. So I had to kind of make a decision to take one socket off each one of those half-inch rails. This is my number 20. This is my 20 millimeter shallow and deep. Probably wondering why those aren't on there, because there's no room, and if I have to lose one, it's gonna be the 20, because I don't use 20 like ever. Okay, they are worth having, and the reason for that is swollen 19 millimeter lug nuts on Fords and stuff. It's really nice to be able to hammer these on and get those off without a huge fight. So it's worth having a 20. Especially if you live in the Rust Belt. Like I do. And that's pretty much the biggest reason I use that at all. Which I've also, on my truck, the caliper bolts used to be 21 millimeter. But they're so rusty and rounded, I used a mini file and I filed them down to where I could hammer on the 20. So right now they're a 20 millimeter size. I was going to replace them, but the ones I ordered were wrong, so I just put the old ones back in. It is what it is. So I've got a bunch of stuff on here. These are my favorite ratchets. These are my go-tos at this point. These KTC swivels. If you guys, I've made a couple shorts on ratchets, on like if you could have only a few ratchets, and to me, if I could only have like two ratchets, it would probably be these two. Obviously, I would like a longer ratchet, right? But, like, to me, if I was going to do it all over again, and I just needed, like, 2 basic ratchets to start with, it would be these two. I would order these first. These would be the ratchets I would start with. And then they make a longer one for, like, $80. I would order that one as well. I want to get that one. I just don't need it at this moment. So we'll just put these on top right here. As you guys can see, I do have another swivel. I haven't really used this a ton. This is a 3/8 in a 1/4 inch body swivel, and I haven't used this a ton. I do like the feel of this ratchet. I would recommend. I made the mistake when I bought a swivel head ratchet from Snap-on off Facebook Marketplace, and it didn't have a comfort grip handle because I don't like comfort grip handles. But that's kind of a mistake with this because one of the benefits of these is that you can kind of do that. I don't know why you would want to drive a bolt like that. I never do, but it's just nice to have. So get them with a comfort grip. Ironically, though, this one doesn't have that. And you don't really notice it because the handle is fat enough and it fits in your hand well enough that you can get away without having a comfort grip. That's why I just continuously keep coming back to, I love these KTC ratchets. This KTC swivel is just amazing. And if I could only have like 1 3/8, it would probably be this one. This is like my most used and loved ratchet. I have used the absolute snot out of this thing. We got some more ratchets right here. This is my This is my Koken flex head. Don't really use this a ton anymore. When I bought this, this was kind of my daily driver for a long time. I do love this ratchet. Ironically, like I said, I don't really use this a ton anymore. And these are my converted Snap-on 1/4 inch drive. I converted these. I put a bit driver head in both of them, which I see now that you can actually buy these. So I didn't realize that at the time. I don't know, maybe they were available then, but I just converted both of these. I bought both of these as they were, and I converted them. And now these are like my go-to bit drivers. They are a little fat for bit drivers, but I wanted these because I noticed that a lot of bit drivers tend to be kind of fragile. I wanted a kind of a more durable bit driver. Kind of a bit driver I can use as a regular ratchet and a bit driver. So, especially when you're on the go, these are worth their weight in gold. Having a sturdy bit driver that you know isn't going to break and that you can run sockets on. Again, don't really have space for it, so just throw these on top, I guess, for right now. This is so fucking full, it's not even funny, guys. I'm not getting through this near as quick as I thought I would be, but I got oil filter claws. I was doing one on a really big diesel. I think it was a Cummins, and I taped these up because it kept slipping off. It didn't work. And so these are both Blue Points. I bought these off the truck because these don't last forever. It's nice to have a warranty on these. That's just, you can just go right on and deal with it. But to be honest with you, I don't know. These Blue Points are just really good. I don't know. I think these might be made by Lyle, but these are 2 different sizes. I don't regret buying this on the truck. I have used the snot out of this one when I was doing automotive. This was like my primary oil filter socket. I've never had band wrenches until recently, and pretty much this and my 12-inch Knipex Cobra was like my only 2 tools that I used for oil filters, and it always worked. I did hundreds of oil changes and never needed any other tool. except for like maybe like once or twice I needed a band wrench, and I don't remember why. But like this got the job done like 99.9% of the time, or my Knipex Cobra. This one I bought this one doing heavy duty, and I haven't really used it. Alright, these definitely aren't going on top. There's no room. See if we can maybe kind of slip these in. Maybe right here. Over these. Oh, man. Oh, that worked. I'm really surprised that worked. Probably my most grabbed tool when I'm going out to service anything. Klein, 10-in-1. It's alright. That actually doesn't go in this box, but we'll throw it in here for right now. My screwdriver drawer right here. This is another drawer that I just don't have any room. Alright, there we go. It's just ridiculous. Alright. Again, we'll get rid of these chisels. I remember. Oh, 4. Chisels, and I have a few more right here. These are again just different size roll pin punches, and we have a brass that I have probably one of my most used chisels. You really just can't get by without brass. One thing I did was I realized I needed a long brass, so I was looking at brass punches. And they were expensive. Like, long brass ones are expensive. So I bought this piece of brass stock. It'll do the job. This is just I just ordered a foot-long piece of half-inch brass. It'll work. Oh, forgot about these. These are inverted Torx, which, ironically, I wouldn't think there'd be a ton of these on internationals, but yeah, you actually you do need these quite a bit for international trucks. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really see. I guess I can throw them down here up against the wall. I don't really use those a ton. Safety glasses, I guess. Let's throw them on top of there. Sharpie, it's going on the side there. Can I close this right now? I think I can. Cool. Alright. Extensions. So this is, like I said a couple minutes ago, this is why I keep these, just so I make sure I have all of my extensions, and if I'm missing one I can replace it. And that is a number 7. That's why I'm missing that one. Good. Milton tread depth gauge. So probably like most of you, didn't really pay too much attention to a lot of this stuff. It's a wearable item. You're going to replace them. Well, I was talking to a he'd been doing this for 40 years. He started out back in the 80s. And he had a metal tread depth gauge. And he said he'd been through like 100 of those plastic ones. But his father gave him a metal one from like way back in the day. And he told me that it lasts, and he's had it for like 20 years before that. And he still has it. So I bought me one of these metal tread depth gauges. And these aren't that expensive, guys. Like this is like $7 off Amazon, and you can tell this is a nice quality tool. You know what? Like, I don't think you really need one for like comfort. It's not going to speed you up, but based on longevity, I mean, it's worth it, right? If I can buy one of these or 2 or 3 of these over my career rather than like 20 to 50 of the plastic ones for like $5, it's worth it to me. This can go straight into here. That's got grease on it. This is my valve core tool. You're probably wondering why I bought one from Snap-on. To be honest with you, I didn't. I have no idea where this one came from. Back in the day, I used to buy a lot of like bulk, wholesale toolboxes and stuff. Just old guys getting out of the trade, or you'd have a bucket of just random assortment of crap, and I'd go through it, and I'd either give away or resell stuff I didn't need or already had duplicates of. And I remember, I actually have no idea where this came from, and it was just kind of in my box one day. It was kind of just in a giant assortment of tools, and I don't know, so I think I don't know if it was in my father's tools or it was in one of those boxes of bundles. I just don't remember. We'll throw that right there. Kind of ready to go right on top. And this is a set of channel lock picks. I don't really have much to say on this. They do their job. I like carrying these more than I like carrying my Snap-ons, because if I lose one of these or all of them, or I break them, I can kind of abuse these and not be as afraid to lose these as my Snap-ons, because they're nowhere near as expensive as my Snap-ons. So, I don't know. We'll just kind of throw these on top. You can, as you guys can tell, like, you guys can make a roll cart go way further than it probably should, right? Like, this amount of organization. And ironically, as long as you can get to tools when you need them, like, you can grab a ratchet and you can grab a socket when you need them, this is still efficient, like, I can still work out of this within reason. You only have to organize it once, and then you just have to maintain what you have going. When you grab a tool and you have a bundle of tools, after each job, take the time to put them away. Right? Organization is going to make you much smoother and faster. And you don't even really need to get like too crazy with it. This is not what I would consider like top tier organized. This is just, I did what I need to do to kind of get this roughly organized. This is not what I would consider like top tier organization. But it is what it is. You could definitely make the argument that if I was working out of this box, full time for efficiency, probably a lot of these ratchets I would take home with me, because I don't need all of these ratchets to do my job. Like my long Snap-on, my My long 1/4 inch, I can take that home. I don't need that. I can take this one home. I don't need that. I'll use my KTCs. You know, so on. A lot of the stuff I can take home with me. I don't need all of this stuff. Pliers. Let's open up the plier drawer here. So you guys can see. I definitely have a couple pairs of pliers in here. So I guess we'll just, not really much I can do with this other than throw them in where I can. Scissors. These are the Klein scissors, by the way. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. These are the absolute, like, best little pair of scissors. Can't really get that code on there. But go into your electrician section, the electrical section at your local Lowe's or Home Depot, and get you a set of these. If you need a pair of scissors, which all of you probably should have at least a pair of scissors, they're surprisingly useful. These are amazing. These will cut through just about anything. You can cut through wire and they don't even notice. I don't know why you would, but just useful to have a pair of scissors on you sometimes. Not a tool you need, just kind of a nice tool to have. Honestly, I'm not going to keep those in my pliers. I got too many pliers in here. Throw this in my general area. Yeah. I got more pliers in here. Electrical pliers. Oh, everyone has seen these now. I bought these almost 8-9 years ago before these became popular and they started carrying these on tool trucks. But this is an aircraft panel tool. I've used the snot out of this thing. This was my primary trim and panel tool. You'd think you'd mar stuff up with this being metal, but you really don't. It's surprising, but you really don't. Alright, this is my oil filter. This is just another oil filter tool. This is a strap wrench. This one's from Snap-on. I bought... You're probably wondering why it's in a glove, and that's because it tends to not really stay together very well. So I didn't have a rubber band, so I just kind of used a glove to keep it in kind of one spot. Like, it just doesn't really want to stay together, so it makes it easier on me. Let's see. Right here. Brushes, wire wheel. I think I got all of that stuff. I guess we'll throw that stuff down there for right now. Yes, this is a surprisingly good pew safe, because these aren't the easiest pick to lock, and this is not the easiest thing to break into. So, it's what I have. It works. Don't judge me. Alright, more pliers. Oh my. Clip, C-clip, removal tools, Snap-on. These new ones are kind of nice because they just pop out like a button. I didn't know about that when I first saw them, but they actually hold up surprisingly well. Never had an issue with them. Again, I don't really have any place for these anymore, so just kind of throwing stuff where I can in that flower store. This is probably my most used file, is this kind of mini file here. This thing is so useful for so many different applications. It needs to be cleaned. If you guys don't know, you're really supposed to clean these files once in a while. All you do to clean them is just take you a wire brush. Just kind of run diagonally with the teeth. The teeth kind of go this way. So you just kind of go with the teeth. You don't need to spend a ton of time on that. Just go right down it, flip it over. You'd be surprised how well this cuts, provided you maintain it. There it is. I have a whole set of these Snap-ons. I'm not really the biggest fan of the Snap-on handle here. I've heard this complaint by more than a few people, is that these handles seem kind of flimsy, like there's really nothing holding these files any side to side. But I don't know. They work really well and they really do the job. Thread tape. The yellow thread tape's for fuel, anything to do with fuel, diesel, gas, kerosene. The white stuff is for anything else. I have never used these. My buddy gave these to me, and he told me these are for pulling out radios. I have never really dealt with doing anything with radios and pulling radios out. In almost my entire decade of working on cars, I don't know, it's weird. I've never really done much with them. I've done plenty with the classic ones where you can kind of just pop them out without using these, but never really needed these. So I'd have to look up how to even use them. No, nut setters. I used to use the snot when I was doing industrial. I used to use the snot out of these things running self tappers. Don't be a socket trying to run self tappers with a socket. Buy a cheap set of nut setters. For the love of God, I've seen people that do that. Ugh, disgusting. It's absolutely a pain in the ass even trying to do it that way. So throw these right there. Weehaw bit set. This was like 20 bucks. Worth every penny. These are absolutely super nice bits. Like, I have a couple of these bit kits. I have 2 of these bit kits. One for security, and the other one is just, this is just a random assortment of bits. Yeah, I lost one, didn't I? 20 bucks. The only downside is that they don't really like to stay closed sometimes in your bag or in your box. You guys can see I have another one right there. Will this still close? Yeah. These are 2 like really small Phillips. I got these with my Titan, my little Titan bit driver here. Haven't used this at all, but it was a bit driving swivel, so obviously I had to have one. I don't know. I haven't seen any other brands. Titan actually makes some surprisingly interesting tools that aren't too bad. I don't know. Every time I see Titan tools, there's always something interesting. Okay. Empty. 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 Alright, we're on the 2 main drawers now. This is a Blue Point Snap-on indexing pry bar. I think this one, I think they make the same ones under Snap-on now. Because I think they look like the same handle as the Snap-on. But this one's labeled Blue Point. This is actually, I don't use this a ton, but it's surprisingly useful, like doing CV axles, trying to get them out of the housing. You can kind of get into different positions and kind of pop them out. I want to get a whole set of these from Snap-on, because Snap-ons are really good. But man, they're so expensive. Probably a lot of you are like, why? Just buy a gear wrench set. Because I don't like buying tools twice. And I found oftentimes that you're better off just buying the best I can afford and not having to worry about it again. Hey, say it. I don't warranty or replace tools all that often. So you can take that for what it is. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. Probably right. Wera flathead. Pretty much all my screwdrivers are Wera. I had Snap-ons. I don't like their comfort grips. Ironically, I wanted to buy a set of Snap-on hard handles. This was weird to me because the guy, my old Snap-on dealer in New Hampshire, when I was like looking for a set of hard handles, he told me, and this is still weird to me. I don't know why he said this. He told me that Snap-on doesn't make hard-handled screwdrivers anymore. What? What are you even talking about, dude? Like, so when I saw a set on my next Snap-on, I was like, "You guys are making hard handles again?" He's like, "What are you talking about? We never stopped." Which is fine. These are better screwdrivers. Let's just be honest, and they're because you can chisel on them. They're the chisel drive. So they're through metal, all the way through the handle. You can put a wrench on them. These are just meant to take a lot more abuse. I hate to say it. And they're like 1/4, maybe even 1/5 the price of some of them Snap-on sets. Wrong drawer. Kind of running out of room for a lot of this stuff. Another set of vice grips. These are the Malco's Eagle grips. So when Malco was basically going out of business a couple years ago, I pretty much took the liberty of stocking at least, I wanted to have at least 2 of each of the claws. I did not get a chance to get the straight claw. They are still being produced by Snap-on for like $100 a piece. These were $34 or $35 a piece, but they didn't sell well enough, I guess. So, but these are like the best vice grips, which kind of sucks because I don't even really like using these now. I use my cheaper ones instead because, you know, it kind of sucks. These are some of the best quality produced vice grips probably ever made, bar none. That's why Snap-on rebrands them. But so yeah, I got 2 of them right. I got 2 smaller ones and I got 2 bigger ones. Worth every penny. And I even have 2 of the C-clamp. There's one with a coin face on it. I don't know what it's called. And then there's one without. I got 2 of each of the C-clamp style. Alright, my electronic Klein bit driver. This thing is really useful to kind of take with you. I've used this a ton. Works well. Still in there for right now. My favorite adjustable. is this Klein spud wrench. I use the snot out of this thing. I carry this one when I'm, when I'm going out to do stuff, because I can use this to line up bolts. Ironically, I haven't used it for that, but, the fact that you can. This is a really nice... This is the only adjustable that I know of that's being produced in the USA. I think Snap-on is now producing some in the USA, but at the time, this was like the only one that I could find, besides these vintage protos that I have here, that are being produced in the USA. Streamlight. That doesn't really need to be in the toolbox. So I'm supposed to have another piece to this. This is for slack adjusters on heavy duty trucks, and I'm missing the other piece. The actual fork that goes up and releases. This is it, so that you can ratchet. Yeah, it's not in there. I hope it's in my bag in my truck, because that will suck. Not that it's that big a deal. I can order another one. They're kind of... I've noticed that even the expensive ones are kind of a wearable item, unfortunately. Yeah, more pliers. I have a full set of Knipex Cobras. All the big sizes. Well, it's not full, I guess, because I don't have all of the smaller sizes. I don't know. They make really small ones that are like pocket size. I don't know what I would do with that. I have no clue what I would even do with that. So, like, this is the smallest size I own, and it's really the smallest size that I feel like I need. I don't know. It's just me. Like, I don't see a purpose to really going that much smaller than this. I think I would like maybe one more size smaller, but like, this is kind of like as small as you really need to be getting into, unless you work with a lot of smaller stuff. But I don't, honestly. Even doing like dash and interior work, I just don't often find it that useful. Alright, now we get into my... They make this under other names now, but at the time when this first came out, this was a Cornwell exclusive. So I bought it from them. But they sell this under other names now. This is the extendable breaker bar. So that pops up and goes in there. Really useful. This is like... This thing is super strong. Like, I've used the crap out of this. People actually used to give me shit at the shops, because whenever I couldn't break a lug nut free, I would use the full thing, because you know what? I like extra leverage. I don't like straining my back any more than I absolutely have to. So, if you think that's stupid, fuck you. Okay? Yeah, I'm gonna use as much leverage as I can, even if it's just a like fucking 19mm lug nut. There's like, why? But yeah, they would make fun of me for it, because I would use it. Fuck them. I don't get it. What? You have a problem with people utilizing the tool to make their life easier? Fuck you. Anyone who does that, fuck them. Best panel plastic popper ever. These get under those plastic poppers, those little plastic clips. They can get under them, and then this pries them up. Absolutely best panel popping tool ever. This Astro. Amazing. I actually don't keep this in my plier drawer. That's right. I put this up top on the side there, because I used to use it a ton. These are super scrapers. I use the crap out of this big one for doing decals Not really that great for it, but it works. Nothing really gets decals off all that well. But makes a good pry bar too. I've seen people use these for tires. I don't know. I've never used them for tires, but I've seen it. I just bought a cheap set of these at the old Hobo Freight, and they work well. No issues. I've used my knife to sharpen that one because it would get dull doing decals, so I would just like sharpen a little bit of it. Tire gauge, tire tool. This one was for doing heavy duty tires because you can get in there, check them. This one is adjustable, so if you have a gauge to check it, you can take it apart. You can take it apart and adjust it, but I never have. I would need something to check it on to really adjust it. Theoretically, I could do it on a regular tire if I checked it with another gauge, with another 2 gauges, and then just adjust it as needed, but I don't know why it's got this on it. Probably should have just left this on here. God damn. Let's just try to see if we can put a little bit of solvent on this, get this crap off. It still doesn't really want to work. Alright, you know what? We're going to come up with another solution. We're just going to tape the fucking handle over. That way, it gives me a nice little grip. Fuck them. Fuck it. Because I don't really see a better option. I could spend some time and get that off. I just don't care enough. Like, straight out, we're just going to make our own nice little personalized handle. Because these don't need to be perfect. I've looked around. There's not really a good, like, high quality version of this, so I just don't care. I looked on, like, even when I was on the tool truck, on the Snap-on tool truck, they literally had the same one. These, I believe, are made by, what's the name? Milton. Milton seems to make most of the higher quality heavy-duty stuff for truck tires, for, like, big heavy-duty truck tires. There we go. I don't use this one a ton, so I'll throw this one down in here. I thought I lost this, so I bought a second one. Can never really have too many of these anyway. Oh, this thing's irritating me. This thing is not really cooperating all that well. Oil filter sockets. I bought the biggest set that I could find from Lyle. This used to live in this drawer. This drawer's, you know what? I'm not using it right now. This can just go down here out of the way. Because unless you own a car or you're doing stuff to really need those, like I am not doing stuff right now that needs those sockets. Alright, and that is the whole toolbox of what I kept in this box. Obviously, you know, I've got some leads and stuff, my multimeter leads that I kind of threw in here. Some wire for doing basic diagnostics, right? I was using this for testing grounds and stuff. You know, this with some alligator clips, you can test grounds. But that is everything that I kept in this major box. Well, I don't know how many of you actually stuck around for the whole video. If you did, leave a comment. Leave a comment that the box is empty, and I'll like your comment. I'll probably like your comment anyway, but if you guys, you know, at least that lets me know that you actually stuck around and decided to hang out for the whole video of me cleaning out this portable Kennedy box that I'm kind of retiring from the portable life. And I will be making another video at some point of me kind of throwing together a mobile handyman box of, you know, just doing basic handyman stuff around the house. And we'll go from there. More videos will be coming. I have a bit more time to work with on my hands right now. So maybe I'll get into why, and we'll go from there. Peace.